Encourage your friends to get vaccinated. Encourage your neighbors to get vaccinated.
What's up, you guys? Almost the weekend. It's almost the weekend. I know you guys are all excited about that. I am. How you guys doing? I hope you guys had a great day. My day was good, so I'm ready to go for the night. The weekend is almost here, and in case you guys don't know already, the Trump rally is happening in Georgia this weekend, and I will be flying out to get to the Trump rally tomorrow evening. Of course, you guys know how I do my red eyes. You guys know how I do my overnight flight, so fly out tomorrow night to head to Georgia for the Trump rally that's happening on Saturday. I'll get off the plane and shoot on up to, was it Commerce or something like that? Commerce, Georgia, someplace like that. That's where the Trump rally is going to be at, and I'll be going up there. So you guys, please, if you can, go to the website onamericanstreets.com/donate. Drop a little love if you can, because obviously this stuff is expensive with the fuel prices and lodging and renting a car, because it's like 2 hours away from Atlanta. So be doing that. So whatever you guys can do, it's very much appreciated. And obviously I'm going to be bringing you guys footage, live stuff. And then once they throttle the feed, if they do, I'll flip over to just record, and film. So, whatever you guys can do, I appreciate it so much. Hopefully it's going to be good. And the weather says it's going to be like windy, like 20 to 30 mile per hour, like wind. So that'll be interesting. We'll see if Vernon Jones is there. Going to try to get some interviews, maybe with the new AG, the candidate that Trump just endorsed. I'll try to get an interview with him. So appreciate it so much, you guys. So tonight I'm going to have a special guest on here in a few minutes, but you guys have been hearing in the news for the past month about nonstop Russia, Ukraine, and all that type of jazz. And we know that the media only is saying one piece about what's going on. They're only focused on Ukraine. And I mean, and to be honest with you guys, there's a lot of churches and Christians who are taking, if you want to say, sides of Ukraine, and more just believing what they're hearing in the media. Because even a lot of churches, they have their views about Putin. They have, he's a tyranny and he's this and that, and he treats the people really bad. And I don't live over there, So the only thing I can go off is either what people who have lived in the country, what they have said, or people who firsthand know. I'm not going to trust the media. That's for me. I'm not going to trust the media, because once the media starts saying one thing like what they've been saying, for me, that's red flags. So, and I'm not, and again, I'm not saying that Putin is some great guy. I'm saying I don't know. I'm just not going to completely trust what the media says about him, because The media, what they're doing is that they're pointing to one side. That's what the media is doing. And with that, there's a lot of people, a lot of churches that are just going along with the media and poor people of Ukraine, poor this, poor that, which I understand. When there's war going on, there's going to be casualties and loss of innocent lives. But at the same time, that's on both sides. I mean, and that's fair. So without further ado, let me bring on my man, Soslin, who is a former Russian citizen or what? I mean, how do you want to say that, Soslin? Oh, you're not there. What's the deal? He's not there. Is your mic still muted?
Oh,
there it is. Yeah, it was. All right.
Sorry about that. Okay. No, well, I don't know what you say. Do I say I just expose? I mean, I would say I'm an exposer.
You're an
expose
exposer.
what's really going on. Yeah,
right.
In a good way.
There you go.
I expose the hypocrisy on federal level and nationwide.
Right. So, I mean, let's go back a little bit how this stuff all started, because you shared some stuff with me, and I'm not even familiar if the news even really said this. And I believe you told me that the news, mainstream media, did not even say the truth of it, of how this whole thing started with Russia and Ukraine.
No, and I think that's important that we finally figured out. Okay, so I'm gonna break it down within I try to keep it in 2 minutes. So if you have your calendar open, or actually I'll tell you about it. Okay, so what happened is on February, I'm gonna actually open up my calendar so I know the exact dates. It was the last week in February, I believe. So it's about actually a full week ago. So February 21st, what happened is that Joe Biden came out stating that we're going to request 150 million barrels of oil. All right, and so then
on President's Day, that was February 21st. Was President's Day?
Yep. And so what happened was because of that, we requested 150 million barrels of oil, and then Russia said no, and they kind of started tensing up. And so then on the 22nd, Joe Biden kicked Joe
Brandon.
Vladimir
I'm just
Putin.
playing.
Oh yeah, I should say Brandon.
Right.
Joe Brandon. Yeah, he removed. Here's how illogical this sounds. Okay, he removed President or Vladimir Putin off the UN Council. Off of the NATO. But here's the difference. If you really watch your thing, Russia, there's 3 countries that have never been on NATO, 3 superpower countries. That's Russia, China, and India. So what did Putin do? He just laughed. He's like, he's probably thinking, you moron, So then what happened is that the military started creeping in a little bit more. And so then February 23rd.
What military? Okay, you're saying Ukraine, or what military started creeping in more?
Both militaries.
Start creeping in where?
Borders.
To the borders, okay.
So to the borders of Russia and Ukraine. But now what happened is that now, if you show a picture, like I sent a video regarding the vehicles with the Z marked. Now that is very important, because those Z uniforms are actually neo-Nazis within the Ukrainian military that has fully infiltrated and has now going after Russian citizens within Ukraine. Okay, and so.
So they're going after Russian citizens that live in Ukraine.
Yep, and perpetrating them as Russian soldiers.
Okay.
And so so then February 23rd, which is a Wednesday, and I came out. I do a podcast called "Remember God Loves You." I'm at the finish line, and I came out stating, "Hey, we ought to pray for both countries because Russia just declared war." So what happened was that. At 11:23 p.m. Wednesday, Ukraine shot missiles, and it had 2 miles outside of Belgrade, and it hit a plane. And I don't know if you have a photo of the plane where it hit and it shot down the plane, and it was 2 miles out.
You sent me that picture. I don't have it accessible right now at the moment to pop it up, but I do have.
Oh, is it because of Instagram? It's probably because of Instagram. Yeah. Oh, by the way, speaking of Instagram, they've actually censored all my videos I sent you. I just found that out.
Really?
But that's.
Oh, we can come back. We can come back to that. We'll talk about that.
Oh yeah, you're gonna love that, by the way. Yeah. So what happened is at 11:20. So the difference was, now I understand if you're going to initiate war, you have to the country. I understand if the Russian plane was on the Ukrainian border or in Ukraine in the Ukrainian airway, that's totally understandable. you know. But the Russian cargo plane was in Russia, and it was well within Russia borders. It didn't just fly over Ukraine just for a millisecond. No, it was flying from Moscow to Sochi. It's Sochi to Moscow, and it kind of went down the. It kind of went the route. I don't know what kind of a route it went, but it kind of went down the wrong route, or like it normally does.
Mhm.
And according to the Ukrainian military defense system, they said that they miscalculated the missiles, and it was meant to shoot as warning shots. But I don't think it was. You and I both know it was not miscalculation. It was a malice attention. It was a malice intention. So then, what happened was after after at 11:30 or about 10 minutes or so after Putin knows what happened, he then goes on the Russian media and states that we have officially declared war on Ukraine because of their actions. And then you fast forward to about 11, almost 12:30 Thursday morning of February 24th, and now you have I think a news media called Russian Today. And as a matter of fact, you can no longer download it in Apple. And that's how I'm getting all my sources from within Russia. And I actually have inside sources that are in the military and stuff. And so what happened is that there was an article because we have 200 American citizens. Now, that's 200. Now, you thought Afghanistan was bad. We have 200 American citizens in the military that are protecting the U.S. Embassy. And now what happened is that the U.S. State Department at 12:30 came out stating that they're not going to rescue those 200 American citizens.
There we go, as always. So this was back on the 24th of February, right? Correct?
Yes, 12:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
I actually watched the press conference.
Okay.
And the sad part is that, when people say, oh, we got to pray for Ukraine, we got to pray for Ukraine, or Ukraine. Well, I think I sent you footage of where Belgrade is getting bombed, and Belgrade is getting bombed, and I have family there, and not only that, but it's so sad to see. And here's a bigger question that I look now. Now, I understand that if you, with asking all these resources and asking for all the funding, now I did my math, and America sent over $609 billion just to Ukraine. They sent about 500, about $90 billion. And then the week before, they sent in about $14 more billion. And so then what does presidents, and then I did the math. So for your viewers, there's 44 million people in Ukraine. Well, there's less than that now. Each citizen would get $33.85 million from our federal government. That's without NATO. That's not without the NATO countries, which England gave $350 billion. Germany gave $175 billion. Overall, the countries made wealth over about $2.598 trillion just because of this whole so-called war.
Right.
And a lot of media is not covering that 30 biolabs that were exposed and that typhoid was being worked on in those labs. Mm-hmm. Nobody's really covering that. And it's odd how now, I know the schools are bad, but what they're also exposing is that within those biolabs are within the churches, are within the schools, are within the hospitals. And that's wow. How sick the Ukrainian government really is. And I know that they're like, oh, and here's what America did though. So America actually shot a missile, but it hit a TV tower in Kiev. And so it miscalculated, or the State Department did, and it had actually hit its own Ukrainian country. And I just also want to tell your viewers what a no-fly zone is. And when President Zelensky said, hey, we need America to put a no-fly zone, that is psychotic thinking. What a no-fly zone is, as being a former military, stating that if you're going to instate a no-fly zone, get ready to send boots in, or get ready to get the nuclear bunkers all dusted off and get some perishable items in there. Mm-hmm. Because you're telling me that every single, even if it's an aircraft, even if it's a military craft, even if it's a crop duster that leaves the airport in Russia, would get shot down, or any airports nearby Russia.
So basically it's a no-fly zone for Russia that they cannot take off type of thing.
Pretty much, fly. Yeah. Yep, even within their own country.
Wow.
And that's what...
Go ahead.
And that's what President Zelensky is pushing for. and not only that, but he also asked America for $500 more billion.
Hmm.
My question is, and here's why I kind of reached out to you, and here's why I've been reaching out to people. What on earth would you need all that money for? And that's where all this so-called war is starting to come to realization, saying, "Oh, wait, maybe this isn't really what it looks like." And that's why I think it's time to expose what it's really looking like. And a lot of people are giving me so much grief for stating that, I think Putin, and I was on the other podcast and I was on another show stating that what Putin is doing, I hate to say it, is good because he's exposing that one world order that's trying to come out through Ukraine that they're trying to build. Because look at George Soros, look at Jeff Bezos, look at all these people investing in Ukraine. And now they're trying to get Ukraine in NATO. Since when did Ukraine ever sit on NATO? That was never ever been before.
Yep.
And since when did the Parliament of Britain? Oh, well, we feel so bad for President Zelensky, and now you have idiot Macron dressing up as President Zelensky just to get votes. I mean, how? I mean, I might as well dress up like a donkey so I could get more Democratic votes. Why not?
Don't do that.
I'm just kidding.
It's interesting that you say that because I completely 100% agree with you. Now, and that don't mean that I'm sitting here and saying that, oh, well, Putin's such a good person. I'm not really saying that. I don't know him except for what obviously I've seen on media or YouTube or whatever. I don't know him. So I'm not really saying that, but I'm saying what he is in this particular moment, what he is standing up against, what he's pushing back. He don't want that new world order in his country. And I know he don't want a lot of the Western culture ideologies in his country either. They're not okay with the whole abortion and the rainbow
And the
stuff.
gays and
right. They're not,
yeah.
He's not okay with that. And so coming from that perspective and that point of view, I'm like, well, go Putin.
Yeah,
if he's trying to keep that stuff out of his country, that Ukraine obviously is in bed with, like our government. They're in bed with our government and NATO and all this. So I'm like, well, go Putin. You're trying to keep this stuff out of your country that they're trying to bring into your country.
Yep. And see, and a matter of fact, I found out what Putin's religion is. It's called Lutheran Orthodox, Russian Lutheran Orthodox. And see, and what I like about him, and I know this sounds really bad, but what I like about him is that he strictly follows by the Bible. Now, I shouldn't say on certain issues,
Right.
For example, but I'm all for I'm all for this whole gay marriage, not against gay marriage, and he's strongly against that, and he's strongly against multiple key issues. For instance, I don't know if you reported on, but back in March of last year, on March 15th, there was a Black Lives Matter protest, and they're going to march over to to the Kremlin, I should say, the Russian Kremlin. You know how long that protest lasted? Out of 1,500 people, you know how long that lasted?
How long?
Less than 30 minutes. Less than 30 minutes. Ukraine, the Russian military was there to the BLM
they
protesters.
Cleaned that stuff up, didn't they? They cleaned it up.
Yeah, they didn't have time to wipe their asses. Pardon my language.
They cleaned that up. You're not going to be doing that mess over here.
See, that's the thing that
right.
That's
good because here's the thing. People say, he's all about tyranny, that Putin is all about tyranny. And here's the thing when it comes to the tyranny. You could say there's tyranny in regards to, like we're saying, he's against abortion, right? So if he's against abortion and don't want that in his country, would that be a form of tyranny? I guess so, in a weird kind of way. It's just, I mean, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, and
yeah, go ahead.
Pretty much, if you and I both are on the same page,
right?
If you and I, like, for example, we must be tyrannists then. When we went to that Dobbs versus Jackson opening argument, we must have been tyrannists, or we must have been anti-America, or we must have been like pro-Russia or pro-country that doesn't agree with abortion. And that's the whole thing, is that this is where the ideology of America is changing at a rapid rate.
Yes, it is.
And you look at, and not only that, but you look at the undermining of the Constitution. You look at the undermining of the education system. And see, one thing that bothers me, here's the thing that bothers me as a vet, as an immigrant that actually came to the country and actually went through the legalistic process and actually
from Russia.
From Russia, I didn't come from the South. And from a person that actually came from there, how insulting is it to be in front of a representative and have her say that you are not welcome to be in this country, or Wisconsin does not welcome you, neither does America. And then she referred as me as a communist and says that I am better off going back home and I should go back home where I belong. That's not the land of the free. And she further on stated that my service in the military was worthless to her and worthless to this country. That's where this country's become. Whatever happened to, hey, you served under our country, let me buy you coffee, or you immigrated from a communist country, let's be neighbors, let's go out for a ball game, and I'll pay your ticket. Instead, I'm getting the total. I mean, it's not just me. I mean, it's a whole bunch of other people. For instance, there was this new executive order today where we have literally Russian citizens fleeing from Ukraine and fleeing from Russia, and as well as Russian citizens going to America. But you know what that's happening is that today's Biden executive order is sending them all back home, but sending them back to Russia. That's what ticks me off, and that's the wrong priorities. And not that we're the melting pot. Well, I'm guessing we're not, because as long as they're better off going from Honduras all the way up through the southern border. That way that the 13 million people that have already fled in, they wouldn't keep track.
Right.
How insulting that is.
Go ahead. Here's the thing. It is insulting because you served in the military in the United States, and for somebody,
and I've almost died.
Right, and for someone to come and tell you to go back to your country when this, in fact, is your country, you came through the right procedures, the right steps to become a United States America citizen, and she not only is she disrespecting you or whoever it was, he or she, I forgot what you said, but they're also disrespecting. She's also disrespecting America. She's also disrespecting that flag that's up behind you.
Yeah, and that's why when I do my podcast, and that's why when I do these interviews, I put the American flag, because I am so proud of the American flag. And I never thought, here's the thing that I looked at today. After I was told to leave, and this is not the first time actually, this is not the first time I was told to leave and not to come back. I was at my village meeting. I was at this village council meeting, and I asked about the 2,000 illegal immigrants that we're going to get, our hometown is going to get. So I asked about how is our community going to sustain itself?
Right.
How are we going to prosper, or how are they going to benefit with us? Because we see the aftermath in Toma, Wisconsin, where over 50,000 Afghans and refugees are up there. Your average Wisconsinite can't get the basic necessities of life. They have to drive 2 hours just to get the basic necessity, just to get diapers, just to get regular food, and just to get gas even. How insulting is that? And that we're sitting in Wisconsin. But either way, I asked the basic questions. I said, okay, what are we going to do? How's Westfield going to prosper? Or are taxes going to go up? And you know what the answer was? I was laughed at. And all they said to me in the council meeting, they stated that I was being racist, I was being discriminatory, and that I wasn't being welcome, and only a communist would say that. How insulting is that? And a matter of fact, they told me that I was not welcome to be participating in any of the 4th of July events because I am not American, and the only true Americans would welcome illegal immigrants. I'm noticing that the priorities of this country has gone way south, but you and I are fighting right along with it. It's so, where did it go wrong? That's the question. Am I better off, with the healthcare, for instance? I have heart problems, and because of my health problems, I can't get back. Well, and I tell them, I'm like, I can't get vaccinated, because the vaccine will kill me, and it will do more damage on my body. So what does my doctor do? My cardiologist? She's like, well, in order for us to see you in person, you're going to have to get the vaccine. Other than that, we can't do very much of anything. I'm like,
right.
So what did I have to put on my heart monitor? Why did I have to wear that for a month? Or why did I do all these tests, but now I can't do anything? So am I better off? How rude is that? And then they're going to prioritize an Afghans and refugees who in the CDC guidelines is exempted.
Right. It's absurd, man, if you really think about it. And just the fact that, who was the lady speaking to you this way? Just so that the listeners know exactly who you're referring to.
Representative Stutz, Studds.
And they're representative of Wisconsin.
Yep.
And
And a matter of
this was in a meeting setting, or what was it? Where were you at when
it
this
was,
actually took place?
it was in the Capitol. It happened a couple of weeks ago, and then I showed up again. I think today, and then it was yesterday as well. And the whole thing is that the whole reason why I was in the Capitol again, it was because we were talking about the Wisconsin rules of education. We're talking about whether if Wisconsin is going to keep teaching the Constitution at the collegiate level, and even at the high school level. Now, to me, I just showed up. I didn't show up. I was, I made sure I did the proper proceedings. I said, why are we having this discussion? Since I thought the Constitution was mandatory taught. I'm like, here's the thing that I don't understand. When the Constitution only works in your favor, when you have the majority, for example, we see Nancy Pelosi say, "Oh, we got to protect the democracy," or "We got to do all
All
this
that
stuff,"
stuff. Yeah.
and we see even in Wisconsin. But when the Republicans have the majority, oh, we got to get rid of the First Amendment. And I use a prime example. For instance, Obama went to UW-Madison in 2008, and they rolled the red carpets for him. And Hillary Clinton came and spoke in UW-Madison. They did the same thing back in 2016. But you bring Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens, they had to fight just to get 2,000 people in the room.
Yep.
That's what happened to freedom of speech? Whatever happened to that? It doesn't make sense. And I would have never thought I'd be in this kind of a country, in this kind of a situation. And you look at the election.
See, that's part of the socialism stuff, and that part of the communism stuff, because they want to control everything. And that's what's funny about when we talk about this whole Ukraine and Russia thing, because people seriously look at Russia as they're the communists, as they're the people who are doing tyranny. But here we have the United States that's doing it on us. They're doing it on us.
Ukraine. Yeah,
right.
And even Ukraine is arresting people that are fighting. Even Ukraine is arresting Russian citizens, and Russian people arresting people if they support, if they know that what they're doing is wrong. And if
the news isn't going to report that. The news isn't going to say nothing about it. All the news is saying is that people are fleeing, and they're not even talking about the Russian citizens who are in Ukraine who are fleeing. They're not talking about that. They're just saying, "Oh, Ukrainian citizens are afraid for their lives," and of course they go off people's emotions. They sell all this type of stuff and show us all the poor people who are hurt. But we don't even know if those people are Ukrainian or Russian. We don't even know that. They're just painting it out there to be Ukrainians.
And all these commercials, I'll give money to Ukraine or give all that. Here's a bigger question I want to know: who's getting all that money? It's surely not going to Ukraine. I know you and I both know it's not going to Ukraine, and that's why That's why that is what is sick about it. Is because you and I both know that it's not just you. That none of those people are getting in Ukraine.
Right.
Because if you have $609 billion just from one country, I'm sorry, there is much bigger picture
going on. Yes, there is.
Yeah. And so, and this is what I notice, even as being a veteran and stuff, Ed, it makes me really think, where our priorities are, and how we have literally elected officials that are saying, well, you know what, you can go back home. When they're supposed to be welcoming, when Wisconsin's supposed to be welcoming, and your city officials are supposed to be welcoming and say, oh, good job, way to be involved. All right, well, we don't agree with things. All right, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. We don't agree on things, but let's still go to a ball game. You don't see that in this day and age. And as a matter of fact, today there was this big thing happened in Wisconsin regarding the election. That did not go like what we planned.
Right.
That went completely haywire. First of all,
let me bring up something real quick, because it's interesting, because I'm thinking about the Wisconsin thing now, and because don't Wisconsin in some of the places, or is that Minnesota, where they have a large population of Muslims?
That is Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin, east side of Madison.
A big population of Muslims.
Huge, yeah.
Yes, I know. Is that's where Dearborn, Michigan? No, that's Dearborn, Michigan. So never mind. But up in that area is a big, large area.
Wisconsin Dells.
Right. So,
yep.
but they're welcome, right? They're welcome, no matter what procedure they come through, because refugees are welcome here. All we know the whole thing, but you're not welcome.
No.
Isn't that crazy? That's so bizarre, man. It's because it's your "Let's Go Brandon" shirt. That's why. That's why you're not welcome.
Well, well, it's not. Well, I don't really wear Let's Go Brandon very much in public, but I mean, this is where our priorities are wrong. You
Right.
know, and what's scary about it is our education system. You know, I commend men and women that are work. I rather. So I told myself, if I were to have kids in this day and age, I would work 2 or 3 jobs so my wife couldn't stay home and do like through PragerU,
Yeah.
homeschool our kids. I rather encourage homeschooling now
Yep.
than allow our kids to go to colleges, which is a communist best. It's a
Yeah, it
feeding
is.
ground, and
College is
and
whack.
the sad, and well, it's not only that, but here's how disappointing it is. So we have a couple classmates of mine that I graduated with, and they were almost done with graduating with college. And
Right.
here's how quick they changed. So now we have this one college student. Used to be she used to be a strong Christian, and she used to have some kind of moral grounds. Now you look at you look at her bumper car. It says legalize bestiality and legalize pedophilia.
You know,
That's where our college
that's
are going.
interesting because on my show earlier with Will Johnson and Doc Drake and Jay, we actually brought that up of how the left, the wicked Democrats, they are pushing for all the pedo stuff. They're
And you know
okay
where
with
that's
all
coming
this
out of?
stuff.
Yeah, that's coming out of UW Madison. It was a special on Tucker Carlson. I almost threw up on my actually I threw up on my mouth. I'm glad I'm not Joe Biden would have my mouth hanging open or probably gone all over. I could have had ice cream, frozen and have ice cream. No, but realistically, Tucker Carlson did a program, and it made me sick.
Right. Right.
So it was Harvard and Wisconsin that got on the news. This Wisconsin professor, which is he's a professor of women's gender study, which I don't know why you had that kind of a stupid degree. He stated that pedophilia should be legalized because love is love and love has no boundaries.
Right. There's a whole other, yeah. And then they
And
use the
he said
Bible. They use the Bible to do that stuff. That's what's a trip about it.
That's
They twist the scriptures in order to fit their own their own lies. Because they turn the
yeah,
truth into a lie. As the Bible says, they turn the truth into a lie. And they sit there and use the whole love is love, God loves everybody, God accepts everybody type of hogwash and do that type of stuff. And on top of that, and I found out a little bit ago that there's this website called NAMBLA, and it's a website. It's for North American Man/Boy Love Association. There's a website for pedophilia that they can advocate for it. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, wait. So this is all right to be up on the website, the World Wide Web, but folks like myself or Will Johnson or whoever other many conservatives, we get our stuff taken down because we mention the C word or mention shots. We get taken down for misinformation, but they can have sick stuff like this promoting pedophilia on the World Wide Web, promoting it, advocating.
And seeing the whole thing is, well, actually, better yet, I bet you're still on YouTube though. At least you can search on YouTube. At least you didn't get an email stating, oh, at least you can. Apparently, I can't go on YouTube anymore. So, like, you know how you go on YouTube and I found that out how I can't get on YouTube. So I went on my phone and I pressed on YouTube app and it said that your account, nothing would show up. And so I checked my email and apparently it was in my spam email. And so then it stated, hey, here's why you can't go on YouTube anymore. It's because of your recent searches and that we think that you are a Russian. They put something garbage against Russia, saying that you're a supporter of Russia. Yeah. So now I can't watch YouTube videos. I can't search YouTube videos. So they took my account down.
But you don't need an account to search. You don't need an account to search YouTube though.
No, you don't need an account, but it's through Gmail. And so because Google owns the rights to YouTube LOR, that's how it links on. And so because I have a Gmail, and that's how they got it through. Just like Tinder, they took my Tinder account down, which didn't really matter. It's funny actually because I said, "Why did I get my Tinder taken down?" Oh, that's right, because I mentioned don't get the shot.
Right.
Because God forbid we think freely for ourselves. And here's what's scary about Wisconsin, and here's what's going to be scary about this pike. After I met with some people today, the scary part is that get ready for a really, the so-called red wave that's supposed to happen. And I mean, I'm not being I hate to say it, but
are you being Q? Are you being Q on us right now?
No.
Okay, all right.
this red wave, according to them, they said that we're not going to, according to the state legislator, according to some assemblymen within Congress and within all these people, they stated that we're not going to be having a red wave. They're going to be stating that we're going to lose 11 seats for the assembly, and that we're going to lose 6 seats for the state senate, and we're not going to get a Republican governor. And further yet, and this goes on to the election thing. Did you know that our Speaker Voss knew 4 weeks before the election that Trump was going to lose? Did you know that 4 weeks before? And all they had to do, and all they had to do, and a matter of fact, some inside sources stated to me directly, stating that they had to tell the public what happened and how to cover it up. And so multiple of these counties that these representatives were so-called being representatives of, they went to these county, like for example, our county, which was Market County, which according to this our representative, he stated that our county was one of the top 5 counties that had the voter fraud compared to Milwaukee, Dane, and stuff. And our county fell in the top 5, which I don't know how that happened.
Right.
But if our county was one of the top 5 counties, then why couldn't we agree to get an audit? But instead, he was too worried about, let's call Minneapolis to go in because there was a machine malfunction. Let's go in there and clean out the machine. And so now we don't have any what's so-called evidence. That is a problem that is grilling Wisconsin, is that all these evidence is completely gone or it's in the wrong hands. And no wonder why we can't get anything done. And as a matter of fact, even today, you could see more division today than you could ever, because what happened was the Republicans said, well, you know what? It's because of the Democrats we can't get anything done. It's because Tony Evers we can't get a single thing done because we keep on passing bills, but he keeps on vetoing it.
Right.
Why can't we get bipartisan support? Why can't we get some support? There's been over 59 bills that were passed in the February, and all 59 of them were vetoed. There's a major problem with Tony Evers. He's not for Wisconsin.
Wow.
So,
man, you have a lot of information, a lot of insight in regards to all that stuff, and I mean, obviously, you have some connections overseas, over in Russia and stuff. That's keeping you updated about what's going on. So, what's the latest news, right quick, before we get going?
So regarding what? I got so much.
Regarding Russia and Ukraine, what's going
on? So what happened was that what's going on right now is that there was a major biolab outside of Kiev that was been exposed, and it was actually inside of a school. It was actually underground, and so that's the big. And that my general that's been in for 20 years in Russia, he told me that it's these big biolabs and these minor biolabs are actually inside these schools and inside churches and inside of all these other things. And he said, be careful when the media states that these neo-Marx or that the vehicles with a Z are not Russian military. They're a Ukrainian military. And also be ready for typhoid pandemic. He stated to me about that, because inside one of the biolabs that's still functioning more on the eastern side, they're working on this typhoid pandemic. And I definitely can tell you, if that gets released, which we know it will do more damage than this Chinese COVID garbage. And they're going to call it the Putin COVID or Putin virus or something like that.
Right, right.
So
now, have you never met Putin or anything like that? Have you?
No.
I'm
not that famous. So. No,
not that famous.
No,
you don't have to be. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to be famous. Oh. Trust me, you don't have to be famous. But no, I wanted to ask. So, no, Stossland, I appreciate the time, man. Honestly, and you willing to come on and talk about this stuff and talk about Wisconsin, what's taking place back there, what's going on with you. So, how can people follow you? I did put this, your information for your Facebook page in the description, so people can see that. But how can people follow you?
So people can follow me on Stossland Newell Teemanson on Facebook, and they can also follow me on Stossland_Teemanson on Instagram. And I'm working on Truth Social, and so Getter is kind of, I'm on the wait. I'm actually 326,547.
Well, at least you're on the wait list. I'm not on the wait list yet. At least you're on the wait list.
Do you have an Apple product?
I don't eat the forbidden fruit.
Oh, that's right. They don't have an Apple. They don't have an Android yet.
Yeah. So it's because we're cool. That's why. See, you guys are like, you guys have the forbidden fruit. We know what happens with that. So, I'm just saying.
So another thing is that if you guys are also interested in following me on Snapchat, which I post like raw footage of actual stuff happening within the state assembly, my Snapchat score is Soslin or Sosman1776, or that's my Snapchat username. And I definitely get, before I end, I just want to tell you that, you know, I'm not here to be all doom and gloom, but I'm here to, you know, I contact you and just want to inform your viewers because, you know, it tells that we are in a troubled world. But we
Right.
know that God has promised and that his love prevails over all of what we discussed about. That his love prevails for us and that he sent his son to die on the cross. And how awesome is that? So while things might not look too good for us, but how cool is it that when we pass away, when we cross that finish line, we get to run into Jesus' arms and he says, well done,
Done,
my
my good and
good and
faithful
faithful servant.
servant. That's right.
Amen to that. And remember, God loves you, and I'll meet you at the finish line.
There you go. Appreciate it, Saucelin, man. You have a good night, man, and thank you once
too.
again for coming on here, man.
And we'll stay in touch.
Yes, we will.
All right, God bless.
God bless, bro. Good stuff, you guys. Good stuff. So, and the reason why I brought him on tonight, like I said, you guys, because the news is constantly one-sided. The news just does one thing, and they're constantly just talking about Ukraine, the poor people of Ukraine. And there's people in both countries actually being affected, like seriously, straight up. But you don't ever hear that much of, you know, people, let's pray for Russia or this and that. And again, I'm not sitting here saying that Putin's like some good guy, but there are some biblical things about Putin. Just like there's some biblical things about that Trump. And honestly, to be honest with you guys, like just to be real, it's probably Trump was probably a lot more lenient in regards to biblical stuff than Putin. Putin's probably pretty more hardcore. It's a stance like these type of things are not in our country. And personally, in my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with that. And I don't see anything wrong with that. If you don't want something in your home or in your city or in your, you know, community or whatever, if you're trying to keep your community a certain way, I personally don't see nothing wrong with that. That's why that's why there's some good neighborhoods, and that's why there's some crappy neighborhoods, and people don't care. Because, or homeowners association, right? Homeowners association would that be a form of tyranny or you know, whatever? They want their neighborhood to be a certain way. You're not allowed to do this in homeowner associations and things like that. You're not allowed to, you know, have multiple cars, or you can't park up on the grass, or whatever it is. You know, so there's some things in regards to, like, you know, overseas and rules and laws. Put it this way, even Muslims, you know, it's a funny thing about these what America and what Western culture has done to other cultures, you know, because Muslims, they're not putting up with the stuff either. They're not and I'm saying true Muslims, they're not putting up with the rainbow flag flying. There's videos of that. You know, we've seen the Muslims kill Christians, which they do, but we also see what they've done to the Rainbow Coalition. They don't put up with that either. So I'm just saying that there are some things that are like, yeah, okay. I want to get on to a couple things real quick since I have about 15 minutes left. But first, just another reminder, you guys, going to be flying out to to Georgia, sweet Georgia, for the Trump rally, leaving tomorrow night, you guys. So going down there, the Trump rally, bring that to you guys live, be outside, obviously where all the atmosphere's at, where all the party's at, because, you know, people at the Trump rallies, they line up, and the atmosphere is off the hook. People are excited to see Trump. They're excited to be there. Vendors are there, all sorts of stuff. And then, you know, people go inside and everybody's dancing and having a good old time. So going to go down there and stream that for you guys live as long as I can. So if you'd like to help, please, because it's completely dependent on you guys, go to onamericanstreets.com. onamericanstreets.com/donate. You'll find PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, buy me a coffee, whatever. Any way that you can contribute and donate, all the links are there. So real quick, you guys have seen what's been going on with Blackburn and Jackson and Booker and all that type of jazz back at the Supreme Court, right? You guys have been paying attention because they got their black person, their black woman. They got her as a judge now, right? Another milestone. So Blackburn's asking her some questions the other day, and I don't know if you guys saw this, but I thought this was great. And you guys probably know exactly what I'm talking about, but we'll get there. Check this out.
Town Day School's progressive education. Do you agree that our schools should teach children that they can choose their gender?
Absolutely not. There's no school that should be teaching children that they can pick and choose their gender when they were actually born with their gender. Every human being was born with their gender. Every single human being. Every single baby from conception was already born with their gender. They were created with their gender. So what do you mean by picking that? Choosing? No, they can't choose.
Senator,
she's confused.
I'm not remembering exactly what quote you're referencing, but Georgetown Day School.
The quote that says in the Bible that he created them both male and female from the beginning. That's the only quote you actually really need.
It was in a book, and you gave the quote. Okay.
Georgetown Day School is a private school.
Yes.
I'm
asking, do you agree that schools should teach children that they can choose their gender?
Let me guess, as a judge, because now I'm on the Supreme Court, I can't answer a simple yes or no question in regards to something that's so probably easy and basic to answer. She can't answer it. She can't answer it, along with other things that she can't answer, and we'll find that out here in a minute.
Senator, I'm not making comments about what schools can teach.
Let me ask you this then.
You're a judge on the Supreme Court now. You should be able to answer that question if you're going to be judging things.
United States versus Virginia, the Supreme Court struck down VMI's male-only admission policy. Writing for the majority, Justice Ginsburg stated, supposed inherent differences are no longer accepted as a ground for race or national origin classifications. Physical differences between men and women, however, are enduring. The two sexes are not fungible. A community made up exclusively of one sex is different from a community composed of both. Do you agree with Justice Ginsburg that there are physical differences between men and women that are enduring?
And everybody answers and says what? I'm looking at the chats. What's the answer to that question, you guys? Is there a difference? And the answer, I'll do it for you guys. The answer is yes. And you say what? I'm confused.
Senator, respectfully, I am not familiar with that particular quote or case, so it's hard for me to comment as to whether
all
or
right.
not.
I'd love to get
we're going to move on.
Your opinion on that, and you can submit that. Do you interpret Justice Ginsburg's meaning of men and women as male and female?
Is there male and female? You guys give me about 10 minutes. I need to go study and look at some books, talk to some people. I got to figure this out. Okay. So just, you guys don't mind if I take like a 10-minute break? I'll come right back to you with the answer. I got to think about this. Hold on.
Again, because I don't know the case, I don't know how I interpret it. I need to read the whole thing.
Can
Wait. You have to. There has to be a case in order for you to know, like, male and female. Like, you need a case number, or you need someone to be in front of you to figure that. All right, we'll come back to that, you guys. We'll come back to that question.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
That's a hard one. That's probably the hardest one out of them all. A definition for the word woman. I don't know how to answer that. I mean, like, seriously, you guys, this is like really difficult. I mean, I don't know if there's enough hands to do a face plant, but this is a really hard question. It's really frustrating to answer this question about a woman. I don't know. I mean, what do you guys want me to say? Like, seriously, I'm not qualified to answer the question. I'm not qualified. But thank you guys for letting me be like the black judge of the Supreme Court. Thank you guys for allowing me to do that, because I feel so honored. This is such an accomplishment. And now I get to judge big cases, but this question is the hardest question in the world, you guys. Like, seriously.
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in this context.
So
I'm not a
the
biologist.
meaning of the word woman is so unclear and controversial that you can't give me a definition?
Senator, in my work
my
as a judge, what I do is I address disputes. If there's a dispute about a definition, people make arguments, and I look at the law and I decide.
Well,
so I'm not.
The fact
If
that
there's a dispute about definitions, if there's a dispute about arguments, what is she saying? I mean, you guys are smarter than me, so I don't understand what's going on. I listen to this and I'm just like, what in the world is happening? We are in a place that we can't even like describe what a woman is or what a male is. I guarantee it, if she was asked what a male is, she'd probably be able to say all sorts of things. Dog, pig, oh, they're chauvinists, they're this and that, yada, yada, all down the line. Guarantee it. They think they rule the world, X, Y, Z. Guarantee it, especially coming from a black woman. Guarantee that's what she'd probably say. And I'm not saying all black women. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that, but... And it's really not even just black women nowadays. You could do white liberal women the same thing. They're this and that. They think they rule everything. This stuff is nuts. This is exactly where we're at. And then. But the grand finale is this. So we see what type of nut job she is, right? Then the grand finale, this really does it. This really does it when you have beta men boo-hooing, pouring out their heart, their expression, their passion, all their emotions. This is lovely. This is lovely.
As Langston Hughes wrote, "Oh, let America be America again. The land that never has been yet, but yet must be the land where everyone is free." Oh, yes, I say it plain. America never was America to me, but I swear this oath, America
was never America to me. But America is allowing you to say what you're saying. Beta.
Will be. That is the story of how you got to this desk.
He's like fan struck. Do you see his expression? The dude is he's getting ready to jump out of his seat for her. He is so happy. Like, this is almost better than Martin Luther King, the speech in Washington. This is better than that, according to his expression.
You and I and everyone here, generations of folk who came here and said, America, I'm Irish. You may say, no, Irish or dogs need to fly, but I'm going to show this country that I can be free here. I can make this country love me as much as I love it. Chinese Americans forced into near.
By the way, there's no such thing as Chinese Americans. Just want to put that out there for you guys.
Slave labor building our railroads, connecting our country, saw the ugliest of America, but they were going to build their home here and say, America, you may not love me yet, but I'm going to make this nation live up to its promise and hope.
And this is how the emotions start. Just pulling on the heartstrings, trying to just get people to cry. I just got to pour it out. I'm goozing with all this love, all this emotion for you, all these feelings. This is sick. Seriously, this is sick.
LGBTQ Americans, from Stonewall women to Seneca, hidden figures who didn't even get their play until some Hollywood movie finally talked about them and how they were critical for us defying gravity. All of these people loved America. You faced insults here that were shocking to me. Well, actually not shocking.
Look, see, there goes the tissue.
But you are here because of that kind of love. And nobody's taken this away from me.
Look.
So you got 5 more folk to go.
Hold on, we got to screenshot that cheese there. He's happy.
And
he's
nobody's
giddy.
taking this away from you.
Look at him. He's just all happy. Nobody's taking this away from you.
So you got 5 more folk to go through. 5 more of us. And then you can sit back and let us have all the debates. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to be a well-charted Senate floor because it's not going to stop. They're going to accuse you of this and
Jesse,
that. Heck,
point
in honor
two,
of your
2.0
person
Jesse.
who shares your birthday, you might be called a communist.
Probably.
But don't worry, my sister.
Oh, man.
Don't worry.
You're going to start preaching.
God has got you. And how do I know that? Because you're here. And I know what it's taken.
God's got her because she's there. I mean, that's the best line ever. God's got you because you're here. You're here because God's got you. That's why you're here. Somehow that relates to God in some, there's some truth to it. The grace of God, you're still alive. Yes. All of us. So there's some truth to that, but yeah, I don't know about that, how his context, since she don't know about other contexts, the context that he's talking about, I'm like, no, that's not why she's here.
For you to sit in that seat.
Don't cry. He was about ready to cry. He was about ready to break down, you guys. I'm telling you, she did something to him. That dude, his knees might have been weak after that. He poured out his heart to her. Surprised he didn't drop to one knee and ask for that hand. Telling you. Woo. Anyway, you guys, I had to show you that stuff to you. It's seriously that's where we're at. So now we have that in the Supreme Court. They're going to continue with this stuff. The NAMBLA thing, or NAMBLA, whatever it is, the whole boy and dad and father bestiality, pedal stuff. It's sick, but that's exactly what they want. These people, Corey, Jackson, they all want that stuff. And I tell you guys, and I said this the other night, black folks, honestly, you guys, they did not used to be like that. They did not used to be like that until the Democratic Party got their hooks in them. The black folks, even back in Martin Luther King Day, all of them, Harriet Tubman, they were singing hymns. They were focused on the Lord. They weren't focused on this stuff. They weren't even treating their slave masters bad. It could have been fear or whatever, but bottom line, their faith was in God. That's who they were praying to. That's who they were speaking to. And these stupid Democrats hooked them and pulled them away. And now black folks are sitting here not even believing in God, or they're believing some stupid lies about God. That's what they're doing. They're believing the lies about God that the Democrats have told them. Believe in science. Believe in science. God evolves. God changes. He's not the same yesterday. He is not the same today. He is not going to be the same forever. Don't believe those scriptures. Don't believe it's the same God. It's a new God. This God is all tolerant. He loves you just how you are. There's nothing you have to do. There's nothing you're doing wrong. God loves you. Love is love. Love accepts everything. Love is tolerant. Love is patient. Love is kind. You know, they use all these scriptures because it melts, because the word love, it has this feeling. It has this tingling thing. And that's exactly what it does. And so they use this feeling of love without even understanding how many different meanings there is of the word love. They don't understand that there's like 8 or 10 different meanings of the word love, but they're using one, and it's based off feelings. It's based off feelings and emotions. And true love, and we should all know this, true love is not a feeling, and it's not a emotion. True love is not a feeling, because guess what? We all know that Christ died on the cross because he loved us. So if love is a feeling, do you actually believe that felt good? In any sort of way? In any sort of way, do you think that felt good for a human being to stretch out his? I mean, if you guys understand what a dying on a cross is and a crucifixion, there's no feeling good about that. So love is not a feeling. And these Democrats have us believing, and the world, because they do have Christians believing it too, that love is a feeling and a emotion. And it certainly is not. It certainly is not. Anywho, that's my rant for the night. There's my preach, you guys. There's my preach right there. So let me get out of here. I appreciate you guys. I will be on tomorrow night in the Now. I'll have it up on my Rumble page, up on Rumble. Matter of fact, I'm probably going to, unfortunately, delete this off of YouTube. So here's the thing, you guys. You guys are constantly saying, go to Rumble. We don't like YouTube. We don't like Facebook. Go to Rumble. We don't like Facebook. We don't like YouTube. So if that's the case, then go over to Rumble and follow me there. Subscribe. Be a follower. Let's get Rumble built up so that eventually maybe YouTube can go away, or I just put certain type of content on YouTube and put more harder, grindier stuff on Rumble, okay? Because things like what Sosslin was talking about, some of the things, obviously you guys know what. They consider this stuff misinformation and will completely shut it down. And this is my backup page right now because I have 2 strikes in jail on my main page of YouTube. So this is the backup page of YouTube. That's why I'm here. So let's get over the Rumble. Let's get the numbers built up, right? So we can go raw, so we can go grimy on Rumble, so we can go hard. So let's do this. Other than that, I think that's about it. Again, Trump rally this weekend. That's where I'll be Saturday. Thank you guys for the donations. If you guys have been over there on the page, on the website, doing that already, thank you guys very much. It means a lot. It's a real blessing, and I appreciate it so much. So with that said, I will see you guys tomorrow night in the Now with Will Johnson, Doc, and Jay. I will not be doing my own show tomorrow night, but I will be doing the show with the fellas. 6 p.m. Pacific time, you guys. See you tomorrow night in the Now.
Praise Jesus. BCP. Proud of your boy. It's BCP. Keep preaching. It's BCP. Black conservative preacher. Who's he? It's BCP. Black conservative preacher. Praise Jesus. It's BCP. Black conservative preacher. Proud of your boy. It's BCP. Black conservative preacher. You just tune in to the #1 black conservative preacher. It's BCP. Come on. He is glad to meet you. Pull up a seat, get ready for the show. Preach about to bring it to you. He don't bring us no scraps, facts from the front line. Live feeds it to you. He ain't never scared. Preachers everywhere. Well, wherever the action is, you know we are all on the fascist list. Hey, yo, preach, you got all the cameras lit. He stays focused, no hocus pocus in the rain and snow. He's filming. A man of God, views from the far right side, and he's in the building. It's BCP, black conservative preacher. Who's he? It's BCP, black conservative preacher. Praise Jesus. It's BCP, black conservative preacher. blame us. You could be black and they'll still call you racist. Patriots wild, they'll never tame us. Welcome, now we're all in the matrix. Proud of your boy, preaching, keep preaching. Let's wake up the sheep from all their sleep. It's BCP, black conservative preacher.